Ah, DevBot, I love you so much more as a voice without a body. Let's talk about MechWarrior 5 Mercenaries, and joining us to do so from Piranha Games is the Senior Marketing and Community Manager, Darren Katz. Thanks so much for joining us, Darren.
Thank you, Sean. Great to be here.
Now, the MechWarrior universe is gigantic. There's a ton of games in it. I even played MechWarrior 2 back in 1995.
This is HQ. What is your situation?
Where does MechWarrior 5 sit in the space?
Yeah, obviously there's a very rich legacy of games that go way back. But in particular, MechWarrior 5 pays homage to MechWarrior 2 Mercenaries. But it has all this modern design and technology that I'm super excited to talk about with you today.
Well, let's start at the real basics of what makes being in a mech and doing mech-on-mech combat awesome.
You become a part of your machine. And when you're out in battle, it's not just a matter of pointing and shooting at everything. You're also managing your systems, whether you're, shooting a lot of energy weapons or missile weapons that have high heat output. Well, you got to manage your heat so that you don't shut down in the middle of a battle. And when you're facing your foes, you can salvage these battle mechs. So if you see a mech that you want, well, you might not want to destroy it completely. You might want to take out its legs or take out its arm weapons so that the pilot has to eject, and then you can just take the mech.
Now, in the last few weeks, I understand that there's been a whole lot of new content, both updates to the base game and a new DLC, Heroes of the Inner Sphere. Talk to me about what's in the DLC.
Boy, there's a lot in the DLC. I'm excited about all this stuff. There's the new career mode. When you start with the DLC, you can import your campaign previously if you'd like to, or you can start over from scratch and start from any of the great houses. And then carve your path through the galaxy from there. Speaking of paths, there's new career paths, which earn you powerful upgrades for your battle mechs, and it's a really exciting new feature for me. And there's a new procedural mission type called Beachhead. This is a big one for me. Beachhead is basically you're clearing an enemy base landing zone for your invasion force. So as you land on the planet, you're wanting to take out satellite installations so that the enemy can't communicate with each other. You're taking out artillery emplacements. You're basically clearing the path, as I said, for your invasion force, which leads to a really cool ending of the mission if you succeed as your invasion force comes down. And there's a new biome called Extrasolar Moon, which that's maybe kind of represented in the image behind me. It's a really cool lunar type setting that we haven't had before. And then there's a lot of new equipment and weapons, things like electronic countermeasures and other electronic equipment like Beagle Active Probe, Mask, which is a little like a turbo boost for mechs, new weapons like chem lasers, mech rifles, and stream SRMs. So a lot of new content. I'm really excited about it.
Can you talk to me about what are the new different mechs? How do they play differently?
The 7 new chassis are the Vulcan, Dervish, Corsair, Marauder 2, Champion, Charger, and Hatamoto Chi. But a couple of my favorites.
Familiar names in there, yeah?
Yeah. So the first one I'll talk about is the Vulcan. It's a very unique mech. It's got the nickname the Scarecrow, which you'll see from the profile. It's just a very unique looking mech. There's nothing else like it in the franchise. It's a 40-ton mech. It's highly mobile, and typically it's used for reconnaissance or scout missions because of its mobility, so it can get in and out fast. You can, if you're looking for a specific target, if you're on an assassination mission, for example, you can get in there, find your target, get back out. Another mech that I'm super excited about, this is one of my favorites, is the Marauder 2. This thing is a 100-ton assault mech, and it is just huge beast. Yeah, it is gigantic, and it is terrifying to see it coming at you on the battlefield.
It's something we've talked about before, modding. I know that MechWarrior 5 has a rich modding community. What are some of the amazing mods you've seen developed?
There's simple modifications from HUD changes, changing colors, adding mechs, weapons, and equipment, to full conversion mods. We've got basically a Mech Commander mod in development that is just amazing. That's a top-down, real-time strategy game. So really, anything you can imagine, somebody out there in the community is probably working on.
Where can people go to get MechWarrior 5 Mercenaries?
Yeah, you can pick it up on Steam, GOG, Epic Game Store, Microsoft PC, and of course, Xbox.
Thank you so much, Darren Katz, for joining us to talk about MechWarrior 5 Mercenaries. And of course, a warm thank you to MechWarrior 5 for sponsoring the PC Gaming Show and giving me this cool patch. Coming up next, let's take a look at Silt.